Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another episode of the Gut Wrench Podcast. As you know, this podcast has been recommended by 9 out of 10 dentists. And one of those 10 who did recommend it was Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. So, if she doesn't know what she's talking about as far as podcasts and recommendations go, I don't know who does. Thank you all so much for joining me in this beautiful, what I'll try to stretch out to be an hour, but I don't really have much content to talk about this week. So, if this episode happens to be 37, 40 minutes, then I do apologize for stiffing you, and I'm extremely sleepy. I'm extremely hungry, and let's go ahead and try to get this podcast episode underway, started, and this week we looked at an episode that we've never looked at before. An episode of AEW Dynamite? Holy crap. AEW Dark. Now, Dark is usually reserved for those who actually want to watch stuff like that. And this is where the company makes a lot of their advertising money, and especially where the company makes... They'll take a select few people. They'll say, hey, so their entire roster will line up, and then they'll be like, you, and you there in the back. Come to this room in here. And then they'll bring them up in that room, and then they'll say, okay, here's your schedule for the next week. Maybe give them a piece of paper, or send them a text message, or send them an email or something. And then they'll say, okay, so since we gave you your schedule, we expect you to show up at this show right here in Louisville, Kentucky, and then after that we're going to go to Rochester, New York, and then after that we're going to go to Miami, Florida. And a dark match is something that's not televised. These ones are televised on YouTube, but they're not really like televised. Unlike the TBS networks, the family of TBS networks that they have a contract with. Some news straight from the horse's mouth. Former WWE superstar, or WWE woman's champion, no, Divas champion, my fault, Paige recently came out and said that there's been a lot of people who have been making fake email addresses for her and trying to email other wrestling promotions saying, hey guys, do you want to sign me to a contract, a lucrative deal? And she's been apparently saying that she wants that to come to an end, so she specified what her emails are. The only two emails that she owns. So that there's not any, if not many, confusion at all on who exactly you would be talking to if you was to find her email. I was able to find both of her emails. One's at businessinquiry.com, and the other one is, I think, just a casual email address. we're going to talk, before this begins, we're going to talk about MJF being unhappy with WWE. Or AEW, I'm so sorry. Like I said, I'm extremely sleepy. MJF unhappy with AEW. And CM Punk said to MJF before that if he wants to pick up all of his shit, and if he wants to leave and go see if the grass really is greener on the other side, then he wants him to. If that's what he wants to do so badly, then he encourages MJF to go to the other side and see just how green the grass is, so to speak. Because MJF seems to have a few minuscule problems with AEW. His first problem apparently comes from the pay rate. The pay rate that he's being paid, which is around, from what I'm told, $275,000 to $480,000 a promo or a segment or a wrestling match that he's doing. And that's a night, by the way. That's in one night, plus whatever he sells in merchandising, which is probably pretty high, seeing as though that he is one of their top heels. He is one of their top bad guys, and the analytics for AEW shows that he is every segment that he does peaks the show. So it's kind of like that's your highest rated segment is AEW's MJF coming out and talking about stuff that's important to him. And the reason that he's one of the highest rated segments is very simple, actually. It's because he shows a lot of passion in his promos. Whenever he gets out there and then he starts talking about Wardlow, whether he starts talking about how unhappy he is, or he talked about anything, his opponents, the direction that they're going in with his company. Anything that has to do with MJF or the Pinnacle or anything that's relevant to MJF, whenever they get to talking about it, and anything that's important to him. So regardless, MJF, see, the pay, back to what I was saying about the pay, the reason that he's mad, apparently, according to a few sources about the pay, is the fact that people like Adam Cole and CM Punk are making far more money than he is, and he thinks that there's a little bit of favoritism going on, of the boys who went to WWE and it came to AEW. But aside from that, I regret to inform MJF that it's not just the fact that they've been to WWE. It's not just that. It's the fact that they've wrestled all around the world. It's the fact that they have accomplishments. CM Punk was on the cover of Muscle and Fitness magazine once upon a time. Fucking Adam Cole has been a multi-time champion no matter where he's been. No matter what company this man has been. And now he's working for the same company that he worked for at the beginning of his career. So now it comes full circle because Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor is now property owned by the Khan family. So what that means is that Adam Cole basically works in the same company that he started at. CM Punk basically works at the same company that he started at. And like I said in my episode, it all comes full circle. It's just one of those, you didn't see it coming. And then whenever it happened, it was like, oh, look at that. I'm right back where I started, except this time I'm making 3 times or 4.5 times as much money as what I made before. Damn it. Let's try to stop from doing that. Like, what the fuck? This is not the Sneeze Me podcast or anything like that. A few injuries I'd like to talk about before we begin the review of half of an episode, because I only looked at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, I only looked at 6 matches out of 8, which kind of stinks, you know. Because I was hoping to look at the whole damn card of 8 matches, but what ended up happening was as soon as I got home, and I mean as soon as I got home, all I could think about was laying down and going to sleep because I'm tired. I'm tired of working at Walmart. I'm so sick and tired of taking out their fucking trash cans. I'm so sick and tired of being bitched at whenever I come home over stupid nonsense dog shit. Yeah, because I remember now I was told that I'm living my life the wrong way. That, staying in a small dark room all day isn't going to help me get anywhere in life. Which, I mean, I'm not staying in a small dark room. I'm going to put this in air quotes, all day. I'm making decisions apparently that are the wrong decisions. I stole money from someone, which I'm sure, yeah, whatever. Just like I stole money from my mom, she accuses me of stealing money. Oh, and she accuses me of stealing her drugs, because apparently, everybody on this goddamn family has to have some sort of poison. They have to have some sort of drugs. These are just things that have been, rackling my brain a little bit, Because God forbid you don't have a drug addiction. God forbid everything in my life, and don't worry, I'm going to talk about this in my book that I'm writing, by the way. Also, some other news coming your way from yours truly. So, because everybody and their mom has to have some sort of affliction, some sort of crutch to lean on whenever they feel weak, whenever they feel, oh man, oh no, what's gonna happen? I can't go to sleep without my crack hit. As soon as you get home, you crush up a little small pill. I don't know if it's a little small blue pill or if it's one of those white ones, or for that matter, you do what my uncle used to do, because he's in jail now. I'm pretty sure he's not doing it anymore, but I could be wrong. And then you crush up said small pill, and then you put it on a piece of aluminum, and after you put it on a piece of tin foil or aluminum, You light a lighter under it, and once it's reduced to a liquid form and it makes that fucking viscous smell that it usually makes, that usually would... It's kind of like a heavy, musky smell. I guess it would be the same if you took any sort of Calvin Klein cologne and then you put it like in your mac and cheese and then you stirred it around for like an hour and then you just ate your Calvin Klein mac and cheese, you know? Oh, no. It wouldn't be the same as that. I mean, mac and cheese is nasty, and Calvin Klein, I guess it smells pretty good from what I've smelled from it. But you would at least have to have the mac and cheese mold over. And wait until the mac and cheese has like those little blue hairs in it, and then you want to eat it. Because... oh man, what's the name of that dog shit? Oh man, mold, because mold has penicillin in it, right? So that's really smart. Anyway, I'm sorry for getting off topic there. I'm going to come back around to the topic at hand very shortly. The only problem with this is the fact that I'm not gonna steal money from the people that I live with. That's stupid shit. I work for the money that I make so that they can take it from me and then say, well, it's for bills. If it is for bills, then that's great. I don't bat an eye toward whatever tomfuckery bills that I have to pay. Because stupid either way. I'm going to have to pay $170 for a hospital bill, and on top of that, I'm going to have to pay $150 for rent or whatever bills that may or may not be in my name. So I don't really know how much that is, but if I had to, I'd say 100 and 100 or 250 plus another 50 is 300, and I would say that's $320 out of the nearly $560 that I'm going to be making this week. So that's pretty much half. If I was making the money that MJF was making, though, I wouldn't be so mad about it. I wouldn't be so unhappy. I wouldn't be... regardless of the fact that Adam Cole and CM Punk were making 4.5 times the amount of money that I was making. If I was making $250,000 a night, $250,000 a segment. Do you know how long a segment is? A segment is like 10 minutes of this podcast. That's how much a segment is. If I'm being, quite honest with you. Sometimes segments can be 5 minutes. It starts whenever a person decides that it's a good idea to write down said segment, and the segment has to be 5 to 6 minutes about what it is that makes a relevant story. Also, breaking news, you probably won't hear it here first, but you'll probably hear it, whenever you wake up in the morning and watch the morning news, or for that matter, whenever you go to check your phone and Yahoo has like those little tabs of news, and then you're scrolling through them and then you'll find it. I don't know if it's Yahoo or if it's Google or if it's AskJives.com or anything like that. All that I know is that you're going to see it before I say it, but I'm going to go ahead and at least be the second or third person to tell you for the day. Dave Hebner has passed away, and whenever I was looking for news before I look for these 5 or 6 episodes that matches that I did do. Whenever I was looking for news, I found that Dave Hebner passed away. And Hebner is the brother to legendary referee Earl Hebner. Right here it says Hogan was released. Hogan, it was revealed, had been the victim of a devious plot by the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. DiBiase had paid off an evil twin ref to count Hogan's shoulders to the mat. Less than 2 minutes, Andre surrendered the title to DiBiase. The referee was in fact Earl Hebner, twin brother of WWE ref Dave Hebner. So what had happened was, and this is the most memorable segment that I can think of, Ted DiBiase, if you don't know, was a very lucrative heel, a very lucrative bad guy back in the company. He did an interview one time where he said in a house show in Georgia, which we just discussed, that house shows or shows aren't really taped. He took off his shoe, and then after that he took off his sock, and he told the Georgia crowd that if anybody wanted to make $900, he said $900 if I remember correctly, that they would come into the wrestling ring and kiss his feet. And so there was a guy who just so happened to be I guess down bad so much that he decided it was a good idea to come into the wrestling ring and kiss this man's foot. And I don't know what to say about that, except for it sounds like easy money. All you have to do is kiss a man's foot. Yeah, it's pretty nasty though, when you come to think about it. So, other than Dave Hebner passing away, so Big E Langston recently returned to action in WWE. Now, I'm not sure whether or not he actually returned to in-ring competition, but I do remember seeing a tweet, and it was kind of like, neck brace comes off now, y'all. And then it showed like a 4-second video of someone throwing a neck brace into a wastebasket trash can. And the below caption at the top comment said, "Aw, WWE Universe, don't you dare be sour. Clap for your former tag champ and feel the power." So, the New Day, yes it is, Big E Langston might be coming back soon. Roman Reigns, at this time, is hurt. They don't want to relinquish the titles, though. They keep saying it's something minor, a very minor injury. They shouldn't have to relinquish championships over something so, minuscule, which, I mean, they could be right. Okay, so Seth Rollins hurt his knee like a while back ago. This man is still going. If I had to compare Seth Rollins to anybody, it would be the Energizer Bunny. And the fact that he just keeps going and going and going and going and going and going. Because he's had a hurt knee for over 7 months now. And not only that, but he also has a child through the man who stole her gimmick from Hulk Hogan, who stole his gimmick from Ric Flair, who technically stole his gimmick from Buddy Rogers. And after Hogan, Austin stole his gimmick. So after Austin stole Hogan's gimmick, and I'm pretty sure that it started at Buddy Rogers. So Austin, and then see, because Flair used to come out and say, in order to beat the man, you gotta beat the man. Oh, okay. Hang on. Triple H stole his gimmick. If I was to make like a web, like a Venn diagram of all the people who've called themselves, quote, the man, it would probably end with Becky Lynch, because she is the last person to call herself the, quote, man. But even though they're stealing each other's gimmicks, they're doing it in a way that's kind of like they are tweaking the gimmick in a way. They are making sure that you don't realize it, but they're saying different things in different wavelengths, in different waves, and making their own interpretation of what it would be like if they were the man that they claim that they are. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I wanted to do was just skip this episode altogether, honestly. Just because I didn't have that much to talk about. AEW's Dark really didn't give me much content to work with, because I don't know who over half of these people are. So, I call myself a wrestling fan, but yet I don't know who these people are. I swear to God, it feels like Tony Khan just hires people off the fucking street. I never heard of them in a newsletter. I never heard of them in an email. Usually I get emails saying, hey, do you want to sign up for this and watch Matt Cardona face off against this guy? And then I'm like, not really, but it's good to see Matt Cardona's doing well. Like, good job, Matt Cardona. I don't know who that guy is, but good job, Matt Cardona. Hopefully it's for a title. So like I said, Rollins hurt his knee, and he's been working on it almost a year now, 7 or 8 months. And the news now is that Randy Orton has hurt his back. Now, the original plan was, according to a friend of mine, for Roman Reigns to face off against Matt Riddle, and for Roman Reigns to hurt this boy so bad that he got put into the hospital. Now, not literally hurt him, like, hey, Matt Riddle, you ready to take one for the team? Because this boy's about to beat your ass so bad it's going to be, it's going to look like a Christmas tree. You know, it's going to be lit up. I'm talking, you know, we're going to have to post pictures of this on social media. You know, you might need a wheelchair after this is done. But the good news is, you taking one for the team? Good job, kid. No, that's not what I mean. So basically what they're going to do is they're going to sell the fact that Roman Reigns beat this kid so bad, and they're going to make it look good, bad enough to where he has to be carried away on a stretcher. Once again, the source of this is, according to a friend of mine, beat up so bad that he has to be carried away on a stretcher, and Randy Orton comes in, and then he basically plays the big bad wolf, so to speak, which is hard to tell who would be more of a big bad wolf at this point. Would it be Roman Reigns, the supposed alleged God mode Roman Reigns, or would it be the Viper, Randy Orton, the Legend Killer, Randy Orton, the Apex Predator, Randy Orton? Which, if I'm right, an Apex Predator is a Viper, a snake, you know, unless you're talking about the car, you know, like Dodge Viper. If that's what Randy meant, then, you know, I don't think that it is, though. Because, you know, consistency reasons, you wouldn't call yourself the Apex Predator if, you know, you didn't mean to call yourself the Viper. And you wouldn't talk about, like, a sports car unless you owned said sports car. In a video game that I used to play, I know that this is off topic, but once again, I've got nothing to talk about. There's these matches right here, but that, I mean, it's going to take me 10 minutes to talk about those. And then I won't have any content. But anyway, so in a video game that I used to play called Need for Speed Most Wanted, I think it was, on the Xbox. Yeah, just the regular Xbox. So what ended up happening was you could play this mode wherever you could play the cop. And if you had enough money from catching bad guys and doing whatever it is that you wanted to do, then you could purchase a vehicle that was basically a police cruiser version of a Dodge Viper. And I thought that was pretty cool. Back growing up back then, I never could get enough money to, I mean, you'd need like MJF money in order to pay for that, because he makes like $250,000 to $390,000 or $400,000 a segment. And like I just mentioned, a segment's probably 10 minutes. You know, like, that's easy money right there. That's like kissing a man's foot, you know? Easy money. Don't you like how I made all of that work? Come in full segment like that. Just full circle. Just, why not? Easy money. Kissing a man's foot, you know? It's not like I said it's like riding a man's dick. Got him. Because that wouldn't be easy money, let me tell you. And technically, that would be hard money. Do you get it? Because he's... Okay, shut up. Shut up. That was a funny joke. The funniest joke I heard all day. Dave Hebner, you will be missed. And now, a moment of silence for Dave Hebner. Thank you all so much. Hopefully you were as silent as my fan was as it played in the background. Okay, so I think it's time that we get to the meat and potatoes, I guess you could call it, the content at hand here. We looked at an episode and we didn't even finish it because I decided to go to sleep because I had practically no sleep. In an episode of AEW Dark from 6/15/2022, where Alan 5 of the Dark Order, Alan 5 Angels, faced off against QT Marshall of the Factory. The Factory versus the Dark Order, basically. And for whatever reason, they make it out to be like, oh my god, the Dark Order and the Factory have had so many problems. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, who the fuck is the Factory? Never heard of these people before in my life. I mean, I heard of QT Marshall. I know who he is. If I didn't know any better, I would say that he was trying to call himself Cutie Marshall because he's so cute. No, I'm joking. But that's the first thing that came to mind whenever I was thinking, okay, so QT Marshall. And I'm like, okay, are you trying to insinuate that you're, like Shawn Michaels? I think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy, Like, where is this going? Anyway, the match wasn't that entertaining. And someone at ringside ends up interfering for QT Marshall. I didn't mean for it to sound like I just called him Cutie. QT Marshall. No matter how you say it, it almost sounds like you're saying cutie. Like, Cutie, cutie. Hopefully I spelled that right. Hang on, I'll look it up. Yeah, I gotta look it up. I suck at spelling. Shut up. Everybody just shut up. Yep, it's a 2020 film and it's called Cuties. Which, come to think of it, I thought that those were like the oranges, like those cuties. Shut up. Everybody just shut up. I'm not trying to make cute jokes, but I guess it's just working in my favor. So, the next match that we had was... oh, yeah. I mean, someone tried to interfere for QT Marshall, and whenever they do, two members of the Dark Order, Alex Reynolds and damn it, someone else, two members of the Dark Order ends up taking Marshall's help, and see that's how you get around it. There you go. You just say his last name. Ends up basically chasing Marshall's help out of the ring, or for that matter, out of the arena. the next match on the card was Bobby Fish versus Brock Anderson. Honestly, Brock Anderson looks like he could be related to Arn Anderson. He looks like he could be Arn's son. But this match was the better of one of the better matches on the card here that we did take a look at, or I did take a look at. I can't speak for everyone here. I mean, I don't know if you guys are watching it while, I'm kind of sitting here doing this whole thing. If you haven't followed me on Twitter already, you should probably go do that, because it's bumping. It's like a party over there at P1_Bay. If you haven't followed me on Instagram just yet, you probably should go do that. And earlier I said that there was some news regarding this podcast. I'm going to release that news right now before I get into Bobby Fish facing off against Brock Anderson. If you haven't followed me on Instagram, by the way, it's MOKA_CPR. Why is my _CPR? Well, because I take women's breath away. So anytime there's a woman in the room, I take her breath away. MOKA_CPR. So they're going to need CPR after I'm done taking their breath away. Anyway, the news that I had for this podcast, now that we are almost 45 minutes in, I recently put in an application for Apple Podcasts, which is going to be the biggest jump. Well, actually, I don't know if that would be the biggest jump or being on Spotify. But finally, between my phone and my laptop, one of them didn't give out while I was trying to put in the application for the Apple Podcast. So if you listen on Spotify, thank you so much for your continued support, because the other day I was told that this was a waste of time, that this podcast is going to get me nowhere in life, and for that matter, that I should just fold it right now because I'm spending more money than I'm making. And this all came from the same individual who had told me that I can't live my life in a dark room enclosed in a box, and for whatever reason here's what he quoted. Here's his quote to me: "I'm living my life the wrong way because I don't go outside of my box, my comfort zone." You might be able to say my comfort zone. I don't go out of that. I don't go away from that. I don't stray from anything. The beaten path, so to speak. The path that's been laid for me this entire time. I don't want to go away from that. But at the same time, I don't want to get in trouble. So, if something's illegal, I'm not going to touch it. If I'm not supposed to be in possession of something, then I'm not going to be caught with it, because I'm not going to have it on me in the first place. That's how you avoid getting in trouble. I don't get some sort of sick adrenaline rush from having some drugs on me, or for that matter, for shooting some illegal or foreign substance in my veins. Once again, this will all be in my book. Where if you're sane enough to read and you're sane enough not to get mad over the things that I'm talking about, and if you're sane enough to do all those things, then maybe there's a mental connection there somewhere. Maybe I'm not as retarded as they claim I am or make me out to be. In their eyes, I'm guessing. Bobby Fish faced off against Brock Anderson nonetheless, and I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Now, you can tell that they didn't have a lot of time to practice this, because even though commentary is talking like every other word to try to cover up the fact, like over your TV, all you can hear is commentary, unless you listen really, really close. And I don't mean to say TV, but, on your phone or anywhere else for that matter, all you can hear is their commentary, unless you listen really, really close. And at every turn, Bobby Fish would say the move that he was about to do out loud. Now, this is what you call calling a match, because they probably didn't have enough time to rehearse. And then before Fish went to the ring, maybe, he told Brock Anderson, the rookie, not to worry about it. He said he's got him covered, just listen to everything that he says. And for the most part, Anderson listened, because I heard Fish 2 occasions say duck, and then he'd try to throw him a punch, and then Anderson would duck. The funny part is, the really funny part is that he would Bobby Fish would hold out his hand, and then he would oh man, I don't know what this is. You can't see my hand, I know that, but he would shake his hand as to which one that he was going to be hitting him with or trying. He would just say, duck. He would just very slowly go for what I would assume would be a punch, but in reality, it's not going to hurt anybody. I love the communication, though. Bobby Fish just calling the match with Brock Anderson, even though I can barely hear anything. The last thing I remember hearing was Fish say, all right, he was like, okay, double arm drag takedown, and then he done it. He done the double arm drag takedown, and then he's got Brock Anderson on the ground, and then he said, okay, tap out. And I was like, don't say that out loud, you fool. At least get him in a closed headlock. Had it been me, I would have got my opponent whenever I did the double arm drag takedown. I would have pulled them close to wherever the entire audience that's there doesn't hear what I'm saying. So it kind of ruins the magic of being in the ring together, and usually you don't hear this. Usually you don't hear that kind of, that's a peek behind the curtain, if you will. That's kind of like them saying, hey, here's a nod to you, We didn't have enough time to practice, but we can't stay within the clutch all the time and then always be so close enough to whisper, hey, I'm gonna suplex you, don't reverse it. Hey, I'm gonna suplex you, don't reverse it. But anyway, I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought that it was a really fun match to watch. I just found it to be very, very entertaining, because once Bobby Fish gets him Oh yeah. Um, for some reason, Excalibur calls Bobby Fish's finishing move the heel hook, which it is a heel hook, but whenever you're referring to a wrestler's finishing move, you're supposed to call it by its actual name. In this case, if anybody else was doing this move, it would be called a heel hook. But if Bobby Fish is doing it, it's called a fish hook. Okay? I just wanted Excalibur to know that he kind of messed up. He might be a world-renowned luchador wrestler, but just learn to call the move what it's called. Okay, next we have a match that confused the hell out of me. Jack Banning, I hope that I'm pronouncing that right, Sin Brody, and Jay Rose, or Rosses, versus the JAS, the Jericho Appreciation Society, Daniel Garcia, Matt Menard, Angelo Parker. Oh, okay. I gave it 1 out of 5 stars. I thought that I put where that says 1 out of 5, that 1-5 looks like a V. So I thought that I put versus 5 stars. I was like, huh? It took me a minute to read that. Sorry. 1 out of 5 stars. It's a decent wrestling, no real feel of competition from the jobbers. So what I mean by that is that if you're going to put two teams against each other and you're looking to make one team look strong, then you would want to put that team in a position where it feels as though that they're at a disadvantage. So for this case, Daniel Garcia, Matt Menard, and Angelo Parker don't really feel like they're at a disadvantage. Matter of fact, they get entrance music and pyro. The other guys don't get nothing. Whenever they come back from, I'm going to put this in air quotes, commercial break, because I had to sit through a fucking YouTube ad, which I hate doing that. But I had to watch like 3 or 4 YouTube ads. Oh, hurt my little soul. Oh, his little soul has been hurt because he had to watch a little bit of ads. Because I refused to pay for YouTube Premium, but I can't skip ads anymore because every time that there was an ad, up until last week, and it's been going on for like 5 or 6 months, every time that there was an ad, I would always push the button, and then I would always say like, report ad, and then they would ask me why I was reporting it. I would always say that it was irrelevant. Well, they took away my option to report the ad for whatever reason. I'm assuming that they're tired of my bullshit. So now I have to sit through every goddamn ad. But if you're going to try to make the JAS, the Jericho Appreciation Society, look halfway strong, then you might want to put them up against people who are going to actually make them look strong. Like I said, these guys, these jobbers, they didn't even get any pyro. They didn't get any entrance music. You know who's going to win those matches. You automatically know. You know? And when you know, you know. Kind of like that episode where I talked about, it's not what I talked about, but rather it was a segment within the wrestling show that I was talking about, wherever they said, this episode of Monday Night Raw is brought to you by, and then they said Madden, NFL, whatever. If it's in the game, it's in the game. I remember that being one of their sponsors, and then me being totally baffled and confused. Like, okay, well, what if it's not in the game, asshole? Is it not in the game? Because he says if it's in the game, then it's in the game. This one was one of the better matches where Ruby Soho faced off against Ruby Soho. Let me try that again. Chris Statlander and Anna Jay faced off against Dinamite, Emi Sakurai, and Nyla Rose, who is the only one who doesn't have a ridiculous name. Aside from, Statlander, I mean the only one on her team that doesn't have a ridiculous name. Okay, so early on in the match, the ref misses a tag from Nyla. Oh, okay. The ref misses a tag from Anna Jay to Nyla, and that's considered no big deal. The referee literally doesn't see that tag because I'm watching this asshole the entire time to see whether or not he sees the tag. And whenever he doesn't see the tag, I kind of wrote it down here. But the ref misses the tag from Anna to Soho and makes a big deal about it. So the ref, for whatever reason, whenever Ruby tries to get into the match, holy crap, I messed up. Okay, so the ref misses the tag from Nyla to one of her tag team partners. I'm having trouble. I'm drawing a blank here as to which one that it was. Whether it was Dynamite, which is spelled weird, but it's supposed to be Dinamite. I'm not sure why. The wrestling here was honestly really good, but it was just the fact that why would the referee call one tag but not call another one? If the referee's back is turned and then the referee just so happens to see a different person in the ring than was in the ring before his or her back was turned, then you might want to start asking some questions. Hey, you need to make a tag. And then, once the tag team partner starts to communicate to the referee, hey, look, asshole, I already made the tag. Your back was turned, and that's not my fault. And then the referee says, nope, I got to see the tag. And then starts pushing you toward your corner saying, hey, dickhead, I need to see the tag. It's like, you don't need to see shit. You just take my word for it. Hey, look at the camera, dickhead. Okay, so Anthony Ogogo versus Nick Ruiz. Okay, so this was the last match. I'm sorry that I'm going to kill it straight at an hour, I guess. But Anthony Ogogo is apparently a world champion boxer. And before the match even starts, Taz on commentary ends up saying, I feel like we're going to see a knockout in this one. Okay, Taz, cool. And you want to know what happens? Not even 2 minutes goes by, and Anthony Ogogo knocks his kid clean on the chin, and he's out like a light. I mean it, he drops like a doormat. And here's how you know who's going to win this match. I guess it's better than kissing some old man's foot, but I mean, dropping like a doormat, or for that matter, it might be better than getting paid $400,000 a segment just for working fucking 10 minutes. You stupid fucking crybaby MJF. The reason that CM Punk and Adam Cole, I just wanted to say this in closing, make so much more money than MJF, though, is the fact that they've won awards. Is the fact that they've been on the cover of magazines. They've been in interviews. They've done things that have raised their own popularity. And in a way, this is a popularity contest. they've done things to garner having a one-on-one conference with a CEO of a major wrestling company, and that CEO of that major wrestling company saying something along the lines of, I think that you're a lot more valuable to me than one of the rookies out there, and I'm willing to pay you 3 or 4 times as much as what they make because you're that much more valuable to me. And I've written up this contract to state that you're going to get 50% of your merchandise sales, and you're going to get $4 million a night. How does that sound? And him, CM Punk, Adam Cole signing on the dotted line saying, hey, that works for me, man. You're taking care of me and you're taking care of my family. And that's all that's important to me. MJF, who claimed to be, at one point in time, one of the 4 pillars of AEW. Anthony Ogogo faced off against Nick Ruiz, and if I didn't already say this, because I feel like that I haven't, you know who wins matches like this. Because just like the Jericho Appreciation Society, there were 3 other guys looking across from them in the ring. And like I said, I feel like Tony Khan hires these people off the street. But I guess it's better than kissing an old man's foot for $900. But nonetheless, Anthony Ogogo and Nick Ruiz, who from the commercial break was already in the ring, and Anthony Ogogo got entrance music and pyro, and this man got no entrance music and no pyro, Nick Ruiz. So, had that been the case, he was already in the ring, and then it just took about 3 minutes to punch him in the face. And then he dropped like a sack of nuts. So had that been the case, I'm going to have to give this match 1 nut out of 5. No, 1 out of 5 stars. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's about all the time we have for you this week. I know this episode wasn't very, groundbreaking, so to speak. It wasn't very titillating. It was mostly me talking about personal issues with some people who promised that they wouldn't give me personal issues. Yeah, so basically whenever he was in jail, he told me, no, I'm going to be a stand-up human being. I'm going to be a stand-up human being and not give you a hard time about shit that you're doing. Because, you're working for a living, and I'm proud of you. And now, look how far we've come. Thank you all so much for joining. And please don't kiss any old men's feet for $900. And please don't complain if you're making more than $250,000 in 10 minutes. And by the way, in about a week, I might or might not be on Apple Podcast. So keep an eye out for news and updates as far as that goes. I'm not sure whether or not I'll look at AEW Dark again, because I had a hard time doing this episode. Thank you all so much for joining me, and until next time, I've been Mocha. In some circles, I'm known as Diva Blood. You should be jealous. No, I'm joking. I'm not gonna close this with the Diva Blood video. Thank you all so much for joining me, and this is Mocha signing off.